This is TWiT.
I know you have a lot of smart light bulbs, but have you installed any other systems like smart light systems, stuff that would be harder to take out?
So that's kind of one of the big things. Most of the work that I'm going to have to do and have started doing around the house is the smart in-wall switches and outlets that I have installed. So the good thing is once you know how to do it, it's just working the process in reverse. So, you turn the lights off at the breaker box. Then you uninstall the thing that you have installed and you reinstall the old stuff. It is a little bit difficult. And again, this is where I remember last time I talked about working on electrical stuff on the show. I was very, very, very encouraging to folks listening or watching, if you don't know how to do this stuff, please do not do this stuff. And please hire an electrician because you can very much hurt yourself and it can be fatal. So I just want to get that out there off the top. But depending on the home that you have, newer homes are going to have something called a neutral line as well. There's the line, there's the load, there's the ground, and then there's also a neutral line. And the old wiring that was in the house and the light switches in the house, they did not make use of the neutral line. And so they kind of have to be wired off all on their own. And then the normal old school switches that go in only make use of the line and load and the ground. And so it can be a complicated process. And so what I'm saying there is simply one of the biggest suggestions and I don't know, things that I've come to realize is documentation and taking photographs and really laying out exactly what you did before, how it all looked before you started to set it up, and what you need it to look like kind of after you're done. And that works for the thermostat that I had to take out just yesterday and sort of putting in the old one and getting that ready. And, one of the things that I've come to realize is you kind of have to get to a point where you just decide that you're going to live in a dumb home, as it were. I kept wanting to put it off until the last minute because I'm so happy to live in my smart home and have everything turn on whenever I need it to and be able to control different stuff. And I realized that I didn't want to be scrambling the last week that I'm in this home trying to get everything uninstalled because it's time to go. And for that, I just get a few more weeks of convenience. That's been a big thing for me where I'm like, you know what? Here's how I'm going to do this. I'm unplugging my bridges from my router. So the Hue bridge and the Lutron bridge are unplugged from my router. So I'm kind of already getting used to, or at the time I was getting used to the idea that these things are not available to me anymore. I can't control them. I've got to kind of relearn how to do it the old way. And that made it easier then to sort of pull off the bandage. And, then I was uninstalling the smart thermostat and I was going around and getting things unplugged and put away and getting other things reinstalled. So that's kind of something to watch out for and be aware of is you got to remember what it's like to live in a non-smart home again and be comfortable with doing that and sort of understanding what is an easy last minute thing to take care of and the things that need to be done first, which is going to be the stuff that involves actually, unscrewing things and rewiring stuff. That's going to take some time.
And so in this process, have you noticed that there's maybe something you didn't need after all, that you took out and you're like, maybe I won't reinstall that when I get to my new place?
That is a really good question. For the most part, I would say that the things that the things that I would maybe not use are very convenient to uninstall. And so the light strips that I have around the house, I really, really want to smart light strips, but ultimately they're not functional enough for me. I want a light to provide enough color, or not color, but brightness. And I want it to actually light up a room and do more than just paint a wall with color. I have posters and signs and things for that, or literal paint. And so for me, light strips are just kind of not convenient. So that was one of the first things that I actually unplugged. The one that's behind me, it's quite literally fastened to the back of the dresser, so it had nowhere to go, and I just plugged it back in before we started. But I have some running on the back of my televisions as bias lighting, and I didn't really ever turn them on anyway. So those, I think, may not have a future in my smart home. It's certainly not something that, I would actively go out and buy. But the rest of it really, the most inconvenient things are like the Eve light switch that I have installed in my office. And inconvenient, I mean, in the sense of removing it, of uninstalling it. And I love those light switches because what they do for me is they let me keep the existing lighting that's in the home and just make the on and off process smart. So in each of the bedrooms that are in my home, and this office is technically a bedroom, there is a fan and light fixture that has 4 lights in it. And I don't know if you've looked, but the candelabra bulbs from Hue are incredibly expensive. And if I didn't have some way to like make the fan itself smart, then there would be no way for me to control that. By just switching the actual switch on the wall out, then I have control over the fan and I have control over the lights, and I can just use regular LED candelabra bulbs that cost much less. So yeah, in terms of things that are like the most difficult to remove, they're my favorite things. The thermostat is another one. I would never want to go back to a home that doesn't have a smart thermostat because it saved me money and it makes it incredibly convenient to make sure the heating is how it needs to be when I need it to be.
And so that comes with you, the thermostat.
Yes, the thermostat will go with me. It is, like I said, genuinely one of my favorite products. And also because, so I use the ecobee smart thermostat, and I have a HomeKit set up. And the ecobee is awesome because it uses these little room sensors. And these little sensors, in fact, I'll have one over here. They have built in a temperature, a thermometer, and they have like a motion sensor. And you could put them in different rooms and it will track the temperature in the room and then also know when you are inside of the room as well. And so because of that, you're not just getting the temperature of the hallway where the thermostat is located. It takes an average of the different temperatures in your home, which you can then further set to say, hey, only take an average of the temperatures in my home in the rooms that I'm actually in. That's how it uses the motion sensor, the occupancy sensor. And it combines all of that to sort of blanket your home in like the proper heating or cooling temperature that you're actually looking for. But double that is the fact that each of those little room sensors are HomeKit enabled. So I can actually make use of the thermostat that's built into this and the occupancy sensor that's built into this to provide automations in my house. And also I can go in and say, hey, when I'm not home, the Home app will actually use my phone's location. When I'm not home, if the sensor in my office detects movement, let me know about it. And that way I can know, hey, there's somebody moving around my office and my dogs can't get into my office because I have a baby gate up for my office. So that, worries me. There might be somebody in my home, then I can check on the cameras. So yeah, again, super convenient and too awesome. And that's where, like I said, the garage door opener, it's cool to be able to talk to the person who's, or the thing whose name I can't say because there's a HomePod behind me, and say, open up my garage door. But that's kind of all it is. It's cool. It's somewhat convenient, but the work that it took to install it and the work that it would take to uninstall it, perhaps I'm way too, I got to check my privilege there, but it's just like, that is a nightmare to me. That's been one of those things where I would rather not only do my own dishes, but like walk around the neighborhood and do everybody's dishes in the neighborhood, then start the project that is uninstalling that garage door opener. It's like that last thing on your to-do list where you've done every single thing on your chore list. You've offered to do your mom's chores for her. You've done everybody's everything. And then it's like, okay, finally, I guess I'll do this. I don't know if I want to do it. So we'll see. We'll see if that goes with me or not. I don't know. Stay posted on my Instagram.
Okay, I will. If you need me to talk to the landlord, just let me know.
Yeah, that'd be great. Hi, I need you to talk to my landlord, please, Megan. This is a whole ordeal. I want to talk quickly, something that I think is going to be relatable to everyone. would be light bulbs. I think one of the first smart gadgets that people tend to get are light bulbs. And the simplest thing you can do, they sell them in a lot of places. I go to like a local department store, and there's like always the boxing, storage, moving section. And they sell these fantastic containers that are sort of like a grid pattern box, and they come with little plastic or styrofoam sleeves, and they're typically for your glassware. You put your cups and things in them. They are an excellent way to easily organize and store your smart bulbs. I've got a smart bulbs that all need a place to go. I don't like to keep the original packaging for them because it takes up so much space. And having one box, regular banker's box size location where I can just slip those bad boys in there and put a lid on it, and I know that they're not going to break, I know they're safely stored, is very handy. So if you've got a lot of bulbs in your house, consider getting one of those really handy containers for glassware whenever you're moving, and you'll have all of them right in one place, and you can figure out where you want them in your new home.